This interview was much different than I expected. And your questions are wonderful. And thank you for challenging me. And thank you for making me think. And I'll think even more after I walk away from this interview about the things you asked me.
Max Amini, glad to have you here in Arabcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You look very quiet.
I do. It's not me, it's the room. You have a great sound system in here. It just sucked out the sound.
While I was preparing for this episode, I noticed that the most searched question in Google was, is Max Amini married?
I like how we start the interview with a marriage question. And I come to the Middle East, yes, I feel like I'm coming to talk to my grandmother. When are you getting married? Are you married? Do you have kids? How many kids? Why don't you have kids? What is going on? Are you sure you don't have kids? But I tell you, first of all, I'm not married. But if you search me, apparently on Google, it says I'm married. And there's a picture of my best friend's wife that they put next to me, and they said we're married together. And it's the funniest joke between us because, my best friend is married, they have 4 kids, and this is how the internet works, right? Sometimes they want to get attention, so they just come up with the fake news, and they said that I'm married. But I don't really care about what Google says. I live my life. I do the best I can, and the news sort of develop themselves. But yeah, single, haven't met the love of my life yet. I'm sure she's somewhere hiding, and inshallah soon. Yeah.
Speaking of Middle East, what do you think about what's happening in Iran?
As an Iranian, I'm really, truly praying that this transition could happen with least amount of violence against the people. We're all very emotional about it. It's very tough. But if it happens, which I really, really believe it is going to happen, it's not only good for Iran, but it's good for the whole region, and it's good for the whole world. We need a world that people love each other. We need a world that the nations respect each other. We don't need to have enemies and these madness that's happening in the world, that divide, the wars. Less of that, more love.
Some people are afraid of the scenario of Iraq could be repeated in Iran again.
It's not going to happen for Iran. Culturally, historically, Iran is very different. That will not happen to Iran. If the regime change come, it's hopefully for the better, and it cannot get any worse. 46 years, the entire resource in Iran, the money that's being produced from the excellent exports that Iran has had, is being used to create war in the region. The least that's going to happen, this money is going to go to the people. And it's going to go into building schools and infrastructures and universities. And I'm really, all we can do today is to pray and hope for a better system, better leaders who care for the people, just like the leaders of the UAE, who've proven that if the right vision and the right direction and the right care for the people happens, a country could blossom. Let's hope for that.
Could Iran become the next Venezuela?
Again, my opinion, I don't think it's possible, because culturally, Iranians are not designed to be controlled that way. Also, there are a lot of very educated, there are a lot of strong leaders in the country. I think we'll have a nice democracy that's going to replace this current regime, and they'll do a good job with their foreign policies and work with the other countries in a much more peaceful manner, in a much more intellectual way, so it could benefit everybody.
Are you Republican?
I'm not Republican, and I'm not a Democrat. I don't like to sort of take a party And the reason for that is, number one, I'm not a fan of politics. I care tremendously about human rights. I like to do anything I can as a person, as a citizen on this planet Earth, to support the people. I like to serve the humankind in any shape or form I can, and I'm a comedian. And I try not to, um, um, I'm trying not to lose sight of my position and get my head into to an area that it's not my expertise. So I stay in my lane, and I like to be effective in the way I can be. Now, if I take a strong political side, what that will do, it'll affect my relationship with my audience in the sense that I'm doing some goodness here. I bring comedy, healing, love, joy, and politics does everything opposite of that. I think both parties do great things, and both parties make a lot of mistakes. Neither party is a perfect party. So how could I root for a party that is going to have a bunch of negative actions? I don't want to be a part of that. I think, as an American, I like to be supportive to my country, to the policies, be a good citizen, do my part. Yeah. And I hope they do the best for the America and for the other countries. I really hope.
Okay, that was a very hot topic. We have just started the interview,
Yeah,
Iran and things.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, let's talk about.
I'll go anywhere you want me to go.
Wow.
I'm sitting here. I'm your guest, and I'll give you my perspective.
I
in any
really
shape or
appreciate that.
form. Same.
Let's dive in comedy.
Sure.
Do you have any red lines in comedy?
I do.
What are they?
The red lines are certain topics that it could really affect. I'll give you an example. Religions. Yeah. All religions should be respected, in my opinion. And I don't take a stab at anyone's belief in a way that they feel I look down upon their perspective, their religion. So I don't do that. There's certain lines. There are topics. I'll give you an example, like abortion. There's certain things that if there is not a clear agenda, why to joke with it? If you don't have a very genuine perspective that's going to really help, then why to touch a certain topic that could create, a divide, a sort of a backlash? I think understanding how far you can go is a skill. So you got to take them to the edge, but not throw them off the edge, right? And so that my red line is sort of understanding that scenario.
But people here in the Middle East feel sometimes that you are targeting them, even Indians.
No, it's not true. It's not true. And the reason I tell you that, Indians love me. The highest ticket sales in the world I have is in India. The amount of love I get from all nations in the world, Indians. Why?
Why?
Because people who know my content know how much I love the culture of India. Same thing with the Arabs, specifically UAE, because it's a country that I've been coming to visit the most. For the last 17 years, I've been performing in the UAE. The locals of the UAE, I have friends and family for over 10 years. They're like my brothers and sisters. As an Iranian, I understand the culture of the Middle East. I understand the family dynamics. Yeah? And you cannot deny vibration of positivity. Yeah? You know when someone has an ill intention when they're joking with you, and when someone is playing because they love you. My comedy is so popular in this region because of that. So if someone says something negative, it's very normal, but it's fascinating. We were just having this conversation. If you go through my comments, wallah, I'm blessed when I say this. It's amazing. It's rare for a public figure to have like hardly anything negative in social media, where there is so much madness in the social media, so much negative. But I'm very, very blessed. The love I have with my fans is unbelievable. And I really hope to God we can just keep going this direction and in this short lifetime, really expand this amount of love. People who've never been to my shows, they might look at something and misread it or something. But people who know my content, they've been to my shows or just really watched me for a good amount of time, they know me. They know what I stand for. And I stand for one thing, and that's genuine love and connection.
Do you think Arabs are too sensitive to your jokes?
No.
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 They accept everything.
Let me when the question you ask is very broad. When you say Arabs mean many different regions. Certain regions, the culture of comedy has grown a lot. Lebanon, Bahrain, UAE. Now Saudi is doing a great job. They're bringing a lot of comedians, and they are taking the right approach with understanding the art form and allowing it to be presented in the most proper way. Those countries, the people have learned what comedy and the culture of stand-up comedy is. So they're not misunderstanding it. But there are regions that the art form has not had a chance to develop in those countries. So yes, it might be a bit more sensitive in those regions. I give you an example. Kuwait. It still could be a bit not so familiar with the art form because they have not had as much of stand-up comedy presented in their region, right? So it's going to get better and better and better. Why? Because genuinely, at the foundation level, comedy is joy. So yes, we are more conservative on this side of the world, but the more we get to understand what this art form is about, the sensitivity will go away and it would replace itself with real understanding.
What is the difference between comedy and mockery?
What is the difference between comedy and mockery? Again, it's a very vague and a big sort of, and I tell you individually. Comedy is many different things, many different formats of comedy. You either have, you're a storyteller, you have a story that you tell, right? Or you have a perspective on a topic and you present that perspective. So that comedy comes in many different forms depending on the comedian and their style of comedy. Mockery, on the other hand, does not really play within the world of comedy, right? I'll give you an example. There are a lot of comedy sketches that they mock a politician. Those mockeries are well designed. They'll say, I'm going to find this president, this prime minister, this foreign minister, and I'm going to make a complete, comedy sort of sketch to really attack this person and their views and where they're coming from. That's mockery. But when it comes to comedy, the nature of comedy is bringing that joy and that play. There's difference. You have a best friend? Do you have a best friend?
Yes, I do.
Okay. With your best friend, you tease each other?
Yes.
And you might say stuff to each other that nobody else tells you, right? But you never get mad at your friend because you know he loves you and you know you guys are playing and you enjoy it so much. You can't wait to see him to do it again. That's comedy. That's what I do.
Do you write your own jokes or you have a team?
Yes, I write everything. And when I say I write everything, not with a pen and a paper, the type of brain I have, I develop my stories on stage. So I tell a story on stage and I say the story again and again and again, and I develop the punchlines and the different ways that I can make the same story better by repeating shows after shows.
On
So
spot. I mean,
on
do
the
you
spot,
develop things
on
on
the
spot?
spot, yes.
Right. Have you ever lost the control?
No, no,
Never.
never in the sense where like, I've been touring for the last 15 years. And when you first start stand-up comedy, it's very difficult. You don't know your voice. You don't know what's going to happen. And you lose control many times of where you at and where you headed. But after a long time, like anything, when it clicks for you, you find your voice, you find, who you are on stage, then you're fine. Then you play and you perform your ideas, and sometimes you have a remarkable night, sometimes you have an okay night. But nobody can understand in the audience exactly what's happening.
What is the worst joke you have ever
The
had?
worst joke.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's interesting you ask me like that. If it's a joke that it's somehow worked, it's never you're never going to look at it as the worst, right? If it's anything that you use and it didn't work, it didn't get the response you want, all of that is the worst.
Can you share us a story that you surprised that, oh, didn't work? I thought it's funny.
Not no, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this. I'm now, if I know how to test something and go in and out really fast. So if I'm not gonna look at this point in my career, I know how to put myself in a situation where I take the audience downhill and go, now what? Within seconds, I can test an audience and see, is this direction working or not? And I pivot right away. And I have a bunch of ideas in my back pocket to get my laugh and move on to my next topic. So you're never going to see a situation where we go south and then we go, ooh, we're in a big, bad situation. How do we get out of this? That's for a younger, newer artist that they don't know themselves and they don't know how to manage their set. But if you do know, you test the water a little bit and you go right, left. Okay, I'm going this way.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to understand this unless you're a real performer, so you understand how the stage works.
What is the percentage of the staged work in your shows?
Never, ever in my entire career I've planned
Do you
anything.
pick them randomly?
100% randomly. I mean, this is what makes my shows so special. That's the style of comedy I developed over the years. And if you look at my schedule, for example, this year, I started my tour on the 2nd of January. What is the date today?
It's 11th.
11th. The first 6 days of the year, I had 2 shows a night in 3 different cities, 3 different countries. I have no time to even have the opportunity to ever put someone there to say, and it doesn't, when you look at my clips again, you can tell. And it's the beauty and the fun and the joy I have from this is for myself. Let's go and see what happens. So yeah, that's how
But
it
comedians
works.
do that, right? Most of them.
I don't think so. I mean, if you do that, to be frank, the comedy is not going to be good. If you plan it, I can't think of any real deal crowd work comedian that will plan something, because first of all, it takes a lot to do that. Think about it. If you want a really funny thing, you have to sit down and spend so much time figuring that out, and then getting somebody and making sure that person delivers that, and then putting it in there. And I don't think so. I think it's really difficult to do something that looks organic and then plan it that way. It's going to look phony.
Yeah, what about the laughters? Are they I mean, real or paid?
The
Okay.
laughter in the audience?
Yep.
It's real in the sense, but if something's funny, you can tell if it's funny. If the laughter is fake,
Because there's a kind of a conspiracy about that. Like we have 10, 15, we pay them, they laugh, and then it's
really?
just the laugh spread everywhere.
Give me the number of these people, huh? I don't think so. I don't think so.
You haven't heard about this?
No, I've never heard of it.
Mm.
Is this like you heard about this happening?
Yeah.
Really?
Here in the Middle East, yes.
Oh my God, that's so interesting. First of all, let me give you a compliment. I love your questions. You took me on a really nice journey today, from meaningful to curiosity to comedy topics. I really enjoyed this. I didn't know what to think before I come here, and thank you for the time you put into these questions. Really,
It's a pleasure
really,
to have you here.
really impressive.
I
my
really
brother.
appreciate your presence.
Same, my man. But I tell you, I've never heard of that before. And I don't think it's going to work. I think you either know how to make people laugh or you're going to fall flat. So 15 people laughing, that's so interesting to me. That's so interesting to me.
All right, let's talk about values. How do you keep flirting on stage funny and not disrespectful? I mean, you do this, right?
Yeah. It goes back to your intention. If you have a positive intention, you don't need to think too much. If you're genuinely showing up to give love, then you don't need to worry about anything. When you're not the real deal, when you got a ill intention, when you coming from a dark place, then you have to think. Then you have to be worried. But if I come sit here and I know I'm just going to sit and have a heart-to-heart talk with you, I don't need to think or worry about anything. I've got nothing to hide, right? Same thing on stage. You show up. I got nothing but to worry or think about. But one thing, I'm here to connect to these people. The rest is going to just come up, beautiful.
But what if it happened to you? What would you react?
If somebody comes and flirts with my date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've actually spoken about this on stage before. Yeah. Maybe when I was younger, I would have a problem with this. And I would feel like, oh, I'm a man. I need to step up and be aggressive about this. Not anymore. I'll give you a quick story. I was younger, and I was a very overprotective boyfriend. And I had an American girlfriend that I really loved. And I would constantly get into these arguments with her because we were out and about and somebody would say something and this and that. And I was very sensitive. And I asked my mother, I said, Mom, when you were young and you would go out to a party or something and my father was there and a guy would come and flirt with you, how did my dad react? What if a guy came and asked for your phone number? What would Dad say? My dad's a Middle Eastern, Iranian man. And my mom said, nothing. He wouldn't do anything or say nothing. I said, really? I was shocked. I saw my dad. I said, Dad, I have a question. Please tell me. If you're in a situation like this and somebody came up to Mom, what would you? And he rolled his eyes. I go, come on, Dad. Give me the answer. You know what my father said?
What?
He said, if you're with a woman and you don't trust her, you shouldn't be with her to begin with. He said, I love your mom and I trust your mom. I got nothing to worry about. Your mother is the most loyal, beautiful human. Why would I care? Anybody can go ask her this, that. As long as nobody's disrespectful, and I don't care. I trust her so much. Your mom is someone I've got nothing to worry about. And when he said that to me, it was like an ice bucket of cold water on my head that it just calmed me down. And I go, hey, do you trust your girl? Yes, I do. Then I don't need to be this sensitive, crazy guy going around, what this guy did, what's happening. Just relax and enjoy. Enjoy your evening. Let her have a good time. You have a good time. We cannot control other people's behavior, other people's obnoxiousness, other people not knowing, who's who. We just need to have that basic element that's most important, and that's trust.
How is she doing right now, your mother?
fantastic. My mother's, she's older now, but
Mashallah.
she's lovely. And
And your father?
my father passed away.
Ah,
Yeah, my father passed
sorry to hear that.
2015. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, yeah. But family is doing good, alhamdulillah.
What do you remember about your father?
Everything. My father has a huge impact on what I do. And my father's word and advice and way of the upbringing that he had in my life is everything for me.
You have brothers and sisters, or
2 younger sisters.
oh, mashallah, and
Yeah.
they're comedian as well.
No, they're funny, but they're not
They're
comedians.
part of your audience, fans.
Always. They're my biggest fans.
You make people laugh, but who makes you laugh?
Definitely not you. You're very serious. I tell you, so many comedians I admire, I watch. I like a little bit of everybody. I love the art form, But if I tell you fast on top of my head, man, some of Jim Carrey movies
Yeah.
made me laugh so hard. I love that guy, man. Just how free and crazy and huge and yet controlled he was. Liar, Liar, Dumb and Dumber. Some of the best movies I can think of. So many, man. So many. I'm a fan. I love comedy. I think everybody should, for any reason possible, laugh every day.
Who is your idol?
Me.
Yeah, you. Okay.
No, I tell you, my father is my idol. In different departments of life, I have different idols. In spirituality, there are Sufis that I admire. The way their life philosophies, the way they teach the world of spirituality. They're my idols. And in the world of comedy, I watch, I would say every comedian is my idol, in the sense that I love to watch every artist and appreciate what they do, and be inspired by their great skills. Yeah, so depends on where we at, what topic. A lot of people inspire me.
Most of the comedians are depressed. True or false?
Most of people are depressed. I think most people have a percentage of depression, and that's normal. The percentage goes way high. You really feel that heaviness. And but what you're referring to is a lot of funny people have a very heavy side on their personal life. Some are very dark. It's possible. It's often we hear that. And that's why they use comedy to fight with that darkness and heaviness that they have in their personal life. I personally have dealt with depression a few times in my life. And I think nobody can ever help you with your depression but you. And when it happens, you have to really fight. You have to fight. And it's hard because it's in you, it's on your shoulders, and you feel this weight of heaviness and this sadness. And you got to do everything you can to beat it.
And you're okay now? Better?
Yes, I'm okay. I work hard every day to stay in a good state of mind, And I say this really fast. If anybody's listening to this and they're dealing with depression is something that you can help yourself by elements of physicality, like meaning physical activities. You get out, you work out, no matter how hard it is. You get out, you socialize. Yeah, you get out with people that make you happy and people that you feel comfortable. You spend more time with them. You really sit down and you journal, you write, you try to figure out what's going on. And lastly, you got to figure out this brain chemistry. There are hormones. Sometimes we don't know why we're sad, but we're sad because the balance of brain hormones are off. You're not producing certain hormones. And sometimes just An adjustment in your diet will help you. A
Mhm.
proper supplements will help you. So I really, really like to let everybody out there know we have to fight for our mental health, for our physical health by having a proper lifestyle. And thank you for bringing that up.
Attending your shows would help depressed people.
Of course, every comedy shows help, but I am blessed.
Mm.
If you know, I post sometimes, if you know how many thousands of messages I receive in my DM on a daily basis, that Max, my God, I felt very sad. I had this big problem in my life, and your videos are helping me so much. I'm in the hospital dealing with cancer, and the only thing that's getting me through are your videos. I'm going through a divorce. The only positive thing I have is your videos, and this amount of messages that come makes me realize the responsibility, the goodness, the positive karma out of this job. It makes me so happy.
What don't people see about you on stage? The the hidden part of yourself.
Great question. Many different parts. Mainly, they don't see the amount of hard work and pressure that I have behind stage before I come on, all the things that I do to be able to make this 2 hours possible to perform. They don't know what magnificent amount of work, effort, sweat, pressure that we go through to be able to make this performance possible. The marketing, the business side, the artistic side, the traveling, the sleep, the lack of sleep because of time difference, the lack of good diet because you're moving from one place to another. All of this, it's not easy on your body and on on yourself, but we do it because we love what we do so much, and we love it personally. I love it because of this joy that I get from the audience being happy.
Worth it?
Absolutely worth it. Nothing compares to it. No money, no nothing. It's a blessing.
World Cup is coming.
Yes,
You support Iran or US?
I support many countries. Of course, I support Iran, and I love U.S. Of course, I support U.S. Um, and it's just the World Cup is a beautiful event. And once, let's say Iran goes, out of the league, and then U.S. goes out, you always have another country you're rooting for, right?
Yeah.
You're constantly. That's what keeps the game so exciting.
What's your agenda? Do you have any agenda?
Yeah. The agenda on this planet Earth, if that what you're saying, if you make a big overall sort of view on it, serving the humankind. We're all servants. We come to this world to serve. My way of serving, I bring comedy, laughter, joy, healing. That's my place. And I think there comes a time in your life that you realize the happiest you can ever be is when you're giving, is when you're serving. When you realize that, you feel blessed to have picked a job, a position that you could do more of that.
Max, you're famous. You have a huge influence on people internationally. Do you receive messages from the dark side of the world, like do this, don't do that, we will pay you this?
Yes.
Ah, really?
Yes, of course. Everybody wants to use someone who's got a platform to push their message. Yeah. But maturity and experience helps you to not fall into certain traps. Right? And then you have integrity, and then you have responsibility. My responsibility is to stay in my lane, to be able to do this positive thing that I'm doing for the people. So I always make sure I don't really forget this mentality, this responsibility. And so what? It comes, there's, what you're not and what not to sell yourself to.
Have you ever been used?
No, no, I've been very lucky to have a very straightforward. I'm a strong character, to be frank, in that sense. I'm not the guy that easily sways this way or that way.
Max Amini, the Iranian American comedian, what is the question that has never been asked?
I don't know. It obviously hasn't been asked. But you asked me great questions, man.
Thank you very
Really,
much.
I really appreciate it. This interview was much different than I expected. And your questions are wonderful. And thank you for challenging me. And thank you for making me think. And I'll think even more after I walk away from this interview about the things you asked me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you.
my brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you.